We are on the road to Wrestlemania, and as we approach the 39th edition in LA, we know one thing is 99% certain. Cody Rhodes is winning the UWU Championship. Yes, the American Nightmare will do the thing that his daddy never could and win the top prize in WWE, and let's be honest, it's definitely well deserved. But what happens next? Roman becomes a part-timer and heads away for a well-deserved break? Cody potentially separates the championships so both Raw and SmackDown can have their own respected top title? Who becomes the next world champion in WWE? Well, I have concocted a list of potential first-time winners of the big one. There is nothing saying any of these will ever be champion, and this is completely my opinion with names I could see the company wanting at the top. These are 10 wrestlers that should be a future WWE champion. Before we begin, if you decide to go into the comments to type, "Koby, these entries are so silly, so-and-so wouldn't ever win the title, you're so stupid," just remember, you're also probably not a booker and making these decisions while sitting on the toilet. You're entitled to your opinion, but it's probably wrong. Let's begin, shall we? Number 10. Tommaso Ciampa. Wow, do I miss Ciampa on the main roster. He had a really interesting partnership with The Miz before heading off to have hip surgery for a long-running injury. He also was having a great run, beating AJ Styles to take on Bobby Lashley for United States Championship. Sure, it was a failed attempt, but the run definitely raised his stock for the future of his WWE run. We have already seen what Ciampa can do as a top guy during his fantastic NXT Championship run. Some say it's still the best run that belt has ever seen since it first debuted. Hopefully on his return, fingers crossed for the Raw after Mania, we see a rocket strapped to his back to the top. Maybe a mid-card title on the way to show how great Ciampa can be as the title holder and expose this to a greater audience, but in the end it hopefully ends with the WWE or Universal Championship run. There are plenty of dream matches and fantastic rivalries we could get for his inevitable win during his reign. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, and one in particular we want to see in the WrestleMania main event, who happens to be the next entry. Number 9. Johnny Gargano. Of course Johnny Gargano is on this list. If you've seen other videos on this channel, you know my undying support for Johnny Wrestling. It made so many diehard fans so happy when he returned to the WWE, as we only saw big things. These big things are still to come and we all know it. Hopefully on the fresh restart we get after Mania, there is a push for Johnny. We know he can handle anything he is given. He was a fantastic heel in NXT and an even better underdog babyface, which is the exact thing we need from him on the main roster. Just like Daniel Bryan was built as the ultimate underdog in 2014, Gargano could be used in this way too. If we ever get to see heel Cody during his title run, which seems as likely as Vince McMahon winning an Oscar at this current time, a great opponent for him would be Johnny Gargano. Sure, we may see a title run or two before he receives his chance to be the top guy. Give us a DIY Tag Team Championship run on the main roster, there would be class matches all over the board. Like I hinted at in my previous entry, there is a perfect rivalry for the main roster, which is with his former tag partner Tommaso Ciampa, which would elevate both superstars into the upper echelon of WWE talent. It is also a rivalry that could be over the top championship on either Raw or SmackDown. If they make it as big as the battles they had in NXT, we could even see it main event at WrestleMania. The perfect place for Gargano to win the biggest prize in sports entertainment. Number 8. Tyler Bate. If you're not caught up on the Tyler Bate train at the moment, where the hell have you been? The kid just gets it. Pure in-ring talent, he has the look and can have great matches with anyone he gets in the ring with. The best match I've ever seen live was Bate versus the now JD McDonough at NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2. Go check it out and then come back to this video and you will also get it. At this time of recording, Bate has just turned 26 and has already been NXT UK champion twice. He's also a former NXT Tag Team and NXT UK Tag Team champion, and also a former NXT UK Heritage Cup winner. Knowing this, you can't help but think that Triple H and the company see big things in him. These big things will no doubt pass into the main roster, also with some great matches with people like Seth Rollins, Matt Riddle and Ricochet. He is definitely someone the crowd can get behind, and they will as soon as they see all the great matches you will constantly get from him. This could easily transition into the main event scene and a world title run. I don't think he'll be classed as one of the best champions of all time, but the big strong boy will definitely put in the performances. Number 7. Carmelo Hayes. How great is Carmelo Hayes? He's arguably the best talent on NXT right now. Some may say he's already ahead of the entire roster and deserves a call-up as soon as possible. I'd go further and say he is ahead of a good handful of the main roster. Being the previous winner of 2 North American championships, winning the Cruiserweight Championship to unify with said North American title, and winning the 2021 NXT Breakout Tournament, I think he's now been perfectly crafted for the main roster. With or without Trick by his side, Melo is still going to hold his own on either Raw or SmackDown. He's a great talker and can definitely back up his words in the ring. If you haven't seen his match with Ricochet from Worlds Collide 2022, please go watch it. You will be amazed. Carmelo has seemed to have the metaphoric rocket strapped to his back since he first debuted, and it doesn't seem like he'll be coming down to earth anytime soon. With such a believable cocky character, he would fit in straight away in the upper mid-card of the main roster, and I personally don't think it would take long for him to push into the main event and eventually into a top title picture. He will definitely show everyone that Melo is money. Please, Carmelo, don't call me out. I'm just a humble messenger. Number 6, Sami Zayn. Ole, 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 ole. Ole, ole. Oh my god, Sami Zayn is over. Sami Zayn is definitely the biggest babyface in pro wrestling right now. Sorry, Cody. We all probably know the story right now with Sami in his run with the Bloodline. It's been epic. We haven't had a story like that in wrestling for the last decade, and it's created the ultimate babyface, and we are getting more and more story. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, in Montreal Elimination Chamber, Sami failed in his attempt to capture Roman Reigns' UWU Championship, but it doesn't seem to have made a dent in his popularity. It only seems to grow every week. There is no denying now that Sami Zayn deserves a world title run down the road. Maybe after this story concludes, we could see him challenge and finally hold the big one, but at the moment, let's enjoy what he's giving to us. I'm personally looking forward to watching Sami and Kevin versus the Usos at Wrestlemania. Number 5, Grayson Waller. Grayson has become the best type of heel over his time in NXT. The Australian has become the type of heel you could never see as a babyface. His dastardly antics and his ego make a truly hateable character that would make a great champion. Let me take you back to 2011 and how great of a year it was for The Miz. He had multiple title runs that year, and he also headlined WrestleMania beating John Cena. The trajectory for Grayson could be the same, minus the John Cena. He can talk the talk and walk the walk in the ring, just like The Miz could. He could play the chicken SHIT heel with his title reign, just like The Miz could. I usually don't like comparing wrestlers' characters to each other, but it can't be overlooked. Grayson is a younger Miz, and there is nothing wrong with that. The Miz is one of the best WWE ever had, and Grayson has the ability to be there as well. What he lacks in the ring, he definitely makes up for in his charisma and storytelling. He's currently in a program with Shawn Michaels and NXT, whether that leads to a match between the two. Truthfully, I can't see that happening. Or it means Grayson leaves NXT for the main roster. Watch his space. He has the ability to go all the way up to the top. Number 4, Jay White. You didn't think that this would all be exclusive to WWE and NXT, did you? Oh, you didn't? Well, next we have Switchblade Jay White. If you aren't familiar with him, you may be soon, as he was recently kicked out of New Japan Pro Wrestling losing to Hikuleo, and then kicked out of the company altogether by losing to Eddie Kingston. Now being possibly the hottest free agent on the market, it was reported that WWE have shown their interest in the Kiwi, and he can't help but feel he's going straight to the main roster when he arrives. It would also not be surprising if he is straight in the main event picture, having been one of the longest Bullet Club leaders, main eventing multiple Wrestle Kingdoms, and having plenty of title runs to the point it was rare to not see him have a belt. You've got to believe they're going to want to attempt to hold him in the same regard in WWE. There are plenty of rivalries that could stem from a title run, also with former Bullet Club leaders AJ Styles and Finn Balor. The dream matches with people like Seth Rollins. If he is allowed to keep his Switchblade character but to a more PG level, Jay could also become the top heel in the company. Keep them eyes on Raw after Mania. Number 3, Bron Breakker. What a first year and a half Bron Breakker has had since coming to WWE. Being released from the Baltimore Ravens in August 2020, and at the current time of recording is a multi-time NXT champion, defeating the likes of Tommaso Ciampa, Tyler Bate and Dolph Ziggler. Since his debut match on the first episode of NXT 2.0 defeating LA Knight, Breakker has been positioned as the guy, leading his team to victory against an old NXT guard in a War Games match, and as mentioned before, to multiple NXT championships. It's hard to think that when Bron's inevitable call-up happens that he won't keep his position of the guy. I can imagine on debut he'll be more than likely strapped with a mid-card title, but the ultimate goal must be a WrestleMania main eventer. At the age of 25 and only a few years into the business, he can easily be crafted into the WWE way and isn't even close to his peak. It's crazy to think about the career this guy will have. Multiple world championships are in his future, and even a position as the figurehead of the company. Looking at some of the matches he could have as well, they all sound fantastic. Breakker versus Reigns, Breakker versus Rollins. It all sounds very exciting. It's going to be really interesting to see how Triple H books Bron when he comes up. I personally hope we get to see a WrestleMania main event between he and number 2, Gunther. I mean, this entry doesn't really need much, does it? We already have seen with his current Intercontinental Championship run that Gunther is going to be a world champion in WWE sometime fairly soon. He has already elevated the Intercontinental Championship with fantastic matches and dominant performances. Plus, he can just go. His match against Sheamus at Clash of the Castle was easily best match of last year. His performance in the 2023 Royal Rumble was heavily praised to the point people thought he should have won. His time will definitely come. However, it almost feels like he'll be Intercontinental Champion until autumn of 2023 to overtake Honky Tonk Man's record title reign. After this, you've got to believe Triple H is going to strap a belt to this man. I already said this entry didn't need much. You already know it's coming. Number 1, MJF. Let's end it on a controversial one. The current AEW champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He's arguably the best heel in the business right now. He genuinely is right when he says he is a generational talent. He can make you feel something with his promos, whether he makes you laugh or whether he makes you scream at him. He can also back it up in the ring. Regardless, he does like to use a safer moveset these days. He can definitely crack out the big moves and drop jaws when he feels the need to. After the bidding war of 2024, if Max signs with WWE, you know he's going to be a big deal coming into the company. With the help of Triple H and many more talents, he could perfect his promos so they don't feel too samey and formulaic, and he could genuinely be the next Flair. A definite is that he will be WWE champion though. Especially at the young age he is, you know you'll be able to grow him over the many years. There will be many great feuds and many great moments with MJF. Him winning the WWE title and also losing it. It'll be interesting to see what happens when the 1st of January 2024 rolls in. I can't wait to see it. So that's the list. What did you think? Any more names you think should be either WWE or Universal Champion in the future? Leave them in the comments and remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you soon.